Here we go. Up.
Hello, everybody.
We've got ourselves a Simagic Alpha Mini on the rig here. And here's a GT3, GT4 rim. Very cool. Unnecessary. Actually, that little switch I was talking about in the last video, you can put it all the way to the right, looking at it from this direction, and you can switch these buttons to be whatever color or off that you want. I like the red because they kind of have a sort of red, black, silver theme. Then you put it back over and you're good to go. I thought the CSL-DD was tiny, but no, this thing is small. I wish every wheelbase was this big, or small, I should say. I love small things, and this is like the epitome of a small wheelbase. We're going to start off in Assetto Corsa. I don't race GT3, GT4. I don't do that kind of stuff. I just don't. So I'm curious as to why Simagic sent me the super nice, like everything is just perfect on it. Like the buttons feel great. Paddle shifters are the best I've ever felt. There's no play in anything in the quick release, and they're also rotaries. I got to the point where I just gave up mapping things because I'm like, this is already too much for me to remember. We're gonna do a Tsukuba in a GT3 car, the Nissan GTR GT3, and I'm also actually using the Simagic pedals. I'm not really into this type of racing, like I said, so I'm not gonna do very well. I will be doing a comparison with the Camus and the CSL-DD in a future video, so don't worry, it's coming. Make sure and subscribe if you're not already. I will say this wheelbase is something I would consider a forever wheelbase. It has a lot of detail, it has just enough force to where you can be happy driving pretty much anything. It is lacking when you want to do like open-wheeled classic cars with no power steering, stuff like that. You know, if that's your thing, you're gonna definitely need more power, so maybe like the Alpha Major. It's just called the Alpha. The mounting is great. You know, you can mount it from the side, you can mount it from the front, you can mount it from the bottom, but it's not that much more powerful than a CSL-DD. It really isn't, with a boost kit. Now, that being said, it doesn't have the CSL-DD's problem of having sort of an ambiguous feeling wheel stop. So if I come to a stop and I go to the end, there's a pretty clear wall. It doesn't feel like it's as hard as a real car because obviously you can just push past it. You know, it's not like that much effort. You could do it with one hand. It just tells you like, okay, that's as far as you can go, buddy. This does have the best quality force feedback I've ever felt. It's more detailed than the Camus. It's more detailed than the CSL-DD. It's more detailed than the DD1. So I do think my opinion is valuable here because not many people have tried out 4 different direct drive wheelbases. You just can't go to Best Buy and,
Excuse me, sir. Can I try one of them there direct drive wheelbases?
And this is the best feeling wheel I've ever felt in terms of quality. It's much better than the Fanatic wheels I've owned. It is better than the Camus wheel that I currently own in terms of the button quality, comfort, the materials and things, how solid it feels. But it is pricey. But I mean, if you're serious about this kind of racing, I've never felt something better. You know, I used to own the Fanatic F1 wheel. This feels way better in every way. All the buttons feel better, paddle shifters feel better, the analog clutch paddle things feel better. Even the funky switches feel better on the Simagic. Like, these are much higher quality than the Fanatic ones in terms of the robustness, the accuracy of each clicks. And these feel amazing. I want these on every wheel just because they're satisfying. I just be sitting here. The quick release has 0 play. I did mention in the last video that this is not a standard pattern. It's a standard pattern, like it's 6 bolts or 6 screws, but it's not as wide as it should be. So you can't just pop on any quick release on this and play ball. You have to get their specific sized flange. I'm sure there's some kind of conversion, you know, or you could probably just take this off the stem and then put something else on the stem to make up for this. But the fact that you can't just plop anything on here without this quick release is disappointing to me. It really is. It's almost as if they went out of their way to make it smaller just so you can't use anything but their own stuff. Now, I will say, this is a Camus quick release, right? And this is modeled after the NRG quick release, and it does fit. You know, there's no issues here. So you can use NRG type quick releases without any problem. So if you were to buy another NRG type quick release, you'd be fine. And you could probably use any of their versions, version 3, 5, 2.1, or, you know, they have a bunch of different versions. So you don't really need to move away from this quick release system. But let's say you just wanted to buy the wheelbase, right? And then you wanted to just get a wheel rim and then not have to worry about a quick release. You know, just attach it straight to the wheelbase. You get the best, most accurate force feedback that way. And if you're not concerned with changing wheel rims all the time, that's what you want to do pretty much, especially if you're into drifting and things where you don't really need paddle shifters and you know, a bunch of weird buttons everywhere. You don't need that in drifting. You know, you want just like your raw wheel. It is disappointing that they did that. And Simagic, if you're listening to this, please, in future revisions, make it to where this flange is standard size. I know it's not as cool looking because it's, you know, it's small, it's compact, it's awesome. But if it was standard width, this wheelbase would be so much more practical. The practicality instantly decreases when you introduce a different standard. So I don't like that. Also, something that's been mentioned in many other videos is the fact that the power button is on the power cable. And so actually, I currently don't know where that is. I think it's up there. So if you have a rig where all your cables are mounted in the back and stuff like that, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to turn your wheelbase on and off. Let's go to the tuning software and I'll show you what that's like. Your degrees of rotation, you can go up to 1600 degrees. So we got total force. I have it set to 100. This is a weaker wheelbase, so you don't have to worry about turning it all the way up. It's not like super dangerous if it's all the way up power-wise. You don't want to do that with a DD1 or even the Camus. This one can definitely maybe break fingers or stub a finger, but overall I think this is a safer wheelbase to use, especially if you have small children in the house. You can save different profiles and you can look around here. I got one called Basic Bitch. Here's the calibration page. So, you know, these are where all your buttons will show up and, you know, you can make sure things are working and stuff. And this is how you update your firmware. But yeah, it's a real simple tool. This is not a Simagic wheel, and this is not a Simagic quick release. So keep that in mind. But I can't do the type of racing I'm about to do with that wheel. So we have to use this. And this does give you a clear picture of the compatibility, you know. So this is a different manufacturer's quick release, and it works. It is standard in that regard. Like this part of the quick release is standard. Just the spacing of the bolts or the screws is different, which is frustrating. Now, we're going to go to Richard Burns Rally because it's my current favorite rally game. I will be doing tuning tutorials on Assetto Corsa and Richard Burns Rally. Maybe Dirt Rally 2. I don't really play that game anymore because this game is just taking over all my rally needs.
3, 2, 1. 150.
Oh, I forgot to put it in gear.
Right 4. Into left 5. Into left 3. Into square right. Into left 3.
That was
into right 5. Into left 5. Double. Crest 100. Square right.
I could use a little bit more wheel friction, but I just changed that like right before I hopped into the game.
Into right 3. Into left 2. Into right 4. Double. Into left 3. Opens 4.
Also, these are my pace notes. It's my voice, so if you want these pace notes, download Richard Burns Rally Pro. And, Jesus. Well, I just hit a deer. Good job, me. Yeah, so if you want these pace notes,
into right
you're going to have to
3.
use Richard Burns Rally Pro.
Into left 4. Heightens 3.
Honestly, it's one of the better options out there in terms of launchers and things. Because it just has everything kind of there for you. You don't have to, like, dick around with different mods and things.
Into right 3. Into left 5. Crest 150. Left 4. Long. Caution.
Heightens wide.
150.
I don't know
right
what I said.
3. Into left 3. Into right 4. Crest 150. Right 3. Into left 2. Into
Well,
right 4.
I lost it. We're fine though.
Into left 3. Into square left.
Yeah, the pedals
Into
feel
left
amazing
2.
too.
Into square right.
They feel
Tightens.
more like like air than hydraulics in terms of the brake feel.
Into right 3. Crest 50. Left
But-
4. Into right 2.
They do give a great feel.
Into right 5. Into left 4. Deep left 150.
Oh man, I saw that bump at the last second.
Finish.
Oh, we'll do a reverse entry here. There we go. That was probably the coolest ending I could have done anyway, so that works out. I would definitely put this high on my recommended list. In terms of the overall experience, you know, like the materials, the force feedback quality, I think this is a better buy than the CSL DD. I'm talking specifically about the wheelbase itself. So if we're talking about the wheelbase and the wheel, we're looking at over like $1,200, probably not including shipping. So I cannot say that it's a great value at that price unless you're really into this type of racing, like where you need like top of line steering wheel, whatever. If you're like me and you do like rally or drift, you know, you don't need all these crazy buttons, this is a great value. You know, you can get any NRG quick release and pop it on here. You know, that's really attractive. With Fanatic, you have to buy their specific quick release. The CSL DD with a boost kit is like $500 something, right? This is like $600 something, and you do get 2 extra Newton meters and the ability to use a standardized quick release. Those are pretty attractive to me. It's just a solid chunk of aluminum pretty much, and you know, that's all it needs to be. You know, there's a little bit of visual flair with the carbon fiber here and the little light. Actually, that's one thing I don't like. This green light is super annoying. Like, it's like blinding. And if you have the lights off, you know, like if I was driving at night, that would just be bothering the hell out of me. Like, I think Simagic is one of those companies that's really doing things right. When they came out with this shifter, I immediately purchased it. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I've been wanting a Pro Sim, but I don't want to pay $1,000 for a shifter. No offense, BDH. I got this for $360. Shipping prices went up, so the unit has increased in price since then. But Simagic's ecosystem is growing. They're really putting their best foot forward in everything that they release. But it does come with a premium. You know, like this stuff is not cheap. You know, these pedals are like $800, and they have more expensive versions. But the quality does reflect in the price. Yeah, so everything's super high quality, highly recommended. The pedals, the shifter, even though that's not really part of this, the wheelbase, the wheel. For those of you that have the budget for it, I can recommend it 100%.
Have a good day. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you.
My camera literally died right when I was doing the outro. In a future video. I don't like D-shaped wheels. I think they're dumb. I think there's no point in them, you know, just having that much of your wheel rim cut off. Like, I don't see any point in them. You know, I think it's just so it looks different. And be like, oh, check out my new wheel. It's cut off at the bottom.